Hi there, good morning. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine. Welcome to 30 minutes of my day. Oh, look at the shadow there. Okay, I'm going to have to do something about that. Unfortunately, where I am today in my neck of the woods, it's an overcast day. So I've got my lights on. I've got my desk light on, and I've actually got the overhead light on. It's that dreary. Let's see what we can do with leaving the lights on, because I think that's the main drawback to my new room here. It's not as, it doesn't have as much natural light as my old room, and I kind of miss that. That's a really important thing when you're an artist, is a lovely source of natural light. And this one, I'm not sure. I think it's possibly the choice of wall color in here and the paint. You know how paints come in flat and pearl, satin, semi-gloss, that sort of thing. I think it's the shade and the finish of the paint in here. Because these rooms are literally side by side. They literally have the same size window. This is just a bigger room. Not that much bigger that it should make that much of a difference as far as natural light. Okay, I'm wandering off topic. It's time to start a new journal. And I think I'm going to get started on 3. And I think what I'll do is I'll get started, get the covers ready, and then I'll work through them one at a time. And these are the ones I've chosen. It's time to do an old book, and these are old. These are very old. I've had this one for a long time. I found this a couple of years ago, and I kept thinking, oh, I've got to do something pretty with that because the cover is so beautiful. Let me stand up and make sure that you can see. Wenzel's Inheritance, a story of Bohemia in the 15th century. Is that not fantastic? And look at that spine. It's just spectacular. So excited to do this book, and I love the color. I'm not sure if it's going to come across, but in real life, the color is a really beautiful dusty plum. And then this part of the ink is a nice brick red. And then, of course, it's got some gold. And I love when old books have gold on them. I just do. So I'm very excited. It's got some very, very pretty embossing on it. It's just a spectacular book. This is going to be stunningly gorgeous. And it's old. Now, please, again, to the panickers, don't panic. It turns out, in doing a little research, this book has been published and published and published and published and published. This is not a first edition, and it probably won't be a last edition. It is a very pretty edition, and it's in nice condition, but I guarantee you it's not the only one out there in the world. And I would much rather it be a spectacular journal now and actually get used, because it's obviously been sitting on a shelf somewhere. The inscription in it, Emma with Arthur and Emily's love for her birthday, May 1893. Isn't that beautiful? And then it actually was published earlier than that, pardon me. This book is from 1890. This is a very old book, and it's gorgeous. I cannot wait to get started on this. This one, I'm so excited. I just found this one last week. So this one I've had for a couple of years, gathering dust even on my shelf. So it's probably gathered dust for 100 years on someone else's shelf. It's in such nice condition. I really do wonder how often it was read. This one, it's so gorgeous. This cover is so beautiful. Look at those irises in the embossing, and with the contrasting ink, the dark brown ink. It feels nice. It's beautiful. It actually is Parkman's Works of the Jesuits in North America. And it's just stunningly beautiful. And I found this, like I said, last week at my town thrift store. I paid a little bit more than I usually pay for books, but I loved the spine. I loved all this writing on the spine because it was part of our town library. At some point, it's still got a traditional old card and due date thing in the back. Due date thing. It's going to need some work. I can see here some of the fabric is just literally completely gone. Oh, and that wants to come out. So I'm going to have to create a new header and footer for this spine because I want to use this spine. So I'm going to probably use a similar technique that I used when I mended fractures for the Frida journal that I did. So I have a feeling I'm going to be doing that with this one. I just love this as is. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to put anything here or not. I'm leaning towards just leaving this gorgeous book as it is. I'm also wondering about maybe simply putting a book plate on the front. Don't know yet. I don't have to decide that yet. And then this one, I've had this just for a short little while. And I love everything about it. I love this cover, Victorian Readers. It's a children's reading book. Older child, because there's no pictures. It's all written word. It is 1898. There we go. Oh, sorry about that shadow there. 1898. So I love this too. Authorized for Manitoba, which is a province in Canada. I've been to Manitoba. It's very pretty. So this one is going to be a little bit different. Although that's very pretty, I think I'm going to make the spine into a bookmark, and I'm going to put a bigger spine on this because it's just so beautiful. It needs to be a more significant journal. It's just so pretty. I love the font there for where it says Victorian Readers. It's got a little mess down here. I'm going to decide what I want to do to deal with that because it's, from what I can see and what I can feel, that's permanent. There's no erasing that off the cover. So I could possibly put a little Victorian illustration there, like a fussy cut, because it is from the Victorian era. Or I could simply just tone it down. It's quite bright right now. Obviously something was spilled on it at some point. And it is possible to simply just tone it down with a little bit of distress ink. Same with on the back here. Whatever was spilled on it got the back too. So I'm leaning towards toning that down. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's embossed too. So it feels really nice. So, and I've picked out the fabric. That I've sort of picked out the fabric. I'm throwing. I have two in mind for the spine that I'm going to create. I have this one. It's a paisley. It's a large paisley. I think this was at one time like curtain material for draperies. It's kind of thick. It's got the weight of a light denim. But I think that could look really, really beautiful as a spine. And then I have another paisley. I love paisley. Paisley's one of my favorites. I had a friend who had a cat named Paisley. Isn't that a great name for a cat? Paisley. I have this one, which is a slightly newer fabric. But it's very pretty too. And it's got that mustardy yellow in there too, to tie it all in. This one I think matches a bit better because this, the writing in this is a dark brown, and this has more shades of brown in it, whereas this has shades of black in it. So, but I like the smaller paisley print of this rather than this large paisley print. But again, I think there's more mustard tones in here. So I don't have to decide right away. Today we're just going to do a gutting. Doesn't that sound awful? Today we are just going to take the text blocks out of all three of these books. And that way I can see the inside, see what work needs to be done on them, and then I'll slowly get started on them. I was going to also get started on this little guy, and then yesterday I accomplished almost nothing. My morning was spent cooking the week's worth of dinners for our little dog, who eats a special dinner, a special diet because of her pancreas. So I spent the morning cooking up chicken and rice and vegetables. This one is Whittier's Poetical Works, and it's just a little book. It's very old. It is from 1857. Again, don't panic. It's poetry from a poet named John Greenleaf Whittier. Isn't that a great name? His middle name was Greenleaf. I love it. That's so pretty. He was an abolitionist, so there's a lot of sort of storytelling prose and poetry on freeing the slaves and the sin and horror of slavery. And this book, I was able to find the original owners. They lived in Prince Edward County, Ontario, which is a beautiful part of Ontario. Hubby and I love going to Prince Edward County camping. And it looks like it was originally given to a woman named Mary Tyrrell in 1871. I think that is in 1871. And to cousin Mary Tyrrell with affectionate regards. And then I think it's Effie Tyrrell. Effie? That looks like Effie, or it could be Essie. They did their F's and their S's very similar, but I can see how they did their S's here, and those F's look like the F's for affection. So I have a feeling her name was Effie. And then Mary Tyrrell, in turn, gave it to her son, and this is where I had to find out. I had to try and find this person. Her son, it says, "To my son Marmaduke, from his loving mother, Mary Tyrrell," in 1883. It looks like she gave it to him for Christmas Day, December 25th, 1883. And then he signed it here. It says here, Marmaduke Tyrrell, Wooler, Ontario. So I was able to find him. He did eventually marry a woman named Mary Adelaide Young, I believe her name was. They got married. They had one child named Alan, and he became a Methodist minister. And I did try to find more, if there was any more contact as far as possibly finding family who might be interested in this little book. But I had no luck. And to me, that tells me that it needs to become a beautiful little book. But I'm not going to do it right now because I'm looking at it, and this needs to be a beautiful, tiny little Christmas journal. So I'm going to put it aside for now, but I am going to, this is going to be a Christmas journal this year. Just a little one, so that maybe someone can put, you know, a scripture a day into it or something like that. I think this would be lovely. So it will have, the poems in it are quite, I found them quite upsetting. It really, I know you can't bury your head in the sand when it comes to the history of mankind and how horrible we have been to one another. But I found the poems quite upsetting. So I would much rather, it's been that way for 150 years. Maybe it's time for it to be a happy, joyous Christmas journal. That's my thinking. I might be wrong, but it's my book. So that's what I'm going to do. That's the plan. All right, well, let's get started. Of course, I forgot to turn on my timer, so hold on. I've got 14 minutes left. Let's change this. All right, cancel it. I want 14 minutes. We can get these in 14 minutes. There we go. All right. So, let's start with the Jesuits. and box cutter. So let me make sure I'm centered here. I'm not. There we go. All right. So Wenzel, you go over here. And Victorian readers, you go over here. Out of my way. Oh, I'm very much leaning towards that one. All right. So as you can see, it's literally falling apart in my hands. 1887. Wow. I get such a thrill knowing that in the, in the 1800s, someone was holding this and reading it and learning. All right, so this spine is very, very fragile. It's right down to the fibers. So I'm going to be very careful. I usually start at the back, and I just simply start with little when you get to the bands, usually with these old books, you'll get to, there were bands of cotton or fabric, linen, across it, almost like Band-Aids. And when you get to those bands, they can be tough, even though the rest of the book is falling apart. Those bands can really be tough. But if you stick your knife in too far, you can go right through your cover, which I don't want to do. This cover I love, and I want to be able to use this cover. So I'm erring on the side of caution and just using the very tippy tip of that. There we go. Success. We did okay. All right, front is easier because you can flip this right out of the way. So, and then try your best to use your fingers and hold them apart from each other. It's almost like you're unzipping a zipper. And just encourage them to stay away from each other so that you don't cut that spine. There we go. All right, let's see what's in there. See if this wants to come out. It does. Oh boy, there's not much in here. That's down to the book cloth. Yep. I'm going to be putting new end papers in it, so I am not worried about these end papers. I will be literally trying my best to remove whatever I can of them. There we go. I guess I don't have to be doing this right now. I can do this part off camera. I'm just going to be pulling out all the old gauze and batting that will bulk it up too much. And we don't need that because I'm going to be reinforcing it with new, stronger fabric. But it's always like excavating. I love it. I love seeing what's in here. I love seeing how they did it. You know, although it's basically always the same, there are little differences from publisher to publisher. All right, I'm going to leave this be and stop here. Now I know what I've got in there, and I'm going to have to just completely rebuild the spine from the inside out. And that's not as hard as it sounds. It really isn't. I'm going to put the text block back into it for now, and I will be, I use baskets like that you get from Dollar Tree to keep everything together for books that I'm working on, especially if I've got several going at a time. I've got to find the baskets. All right, Wenzel, it's time. Honestly, I've had this book for a couple of years, and it is time. Now, the end papers are in fairly nice condition, but I want prettier. This journal, I actually want to be pretty. So I'm envisioning laces, and I'm envisioning beautiful ladies, you know, holding bouquets of flowers, wandering through their gardens, you know, that sort of thing. That's what I feel like for this one. So let's go to the back. It's quite tight. This book, like I said, is in, for her old age, she's in very good condition. So let's just see what I can do. Because it's tight, I'm going to be even more careful to make sure I don't damage this beautiful, beautiful spine. It's so gorgeous. So I'm literally just using that tippy tip of that box cutter. Come on. My orchid is doing beautifully. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 blossoms on it now. I'll try and post a photo of it on my Instagram so you can see. Even the colors are changing. They've really, for the most part, become white with a yellow interior. I'm going to flip this over and start from this top just to see if I can get another angle at this and save that spine. Come on, you. Did we do it? Are we okay? We're good. Yes. Love seeing what's inside. Gosh, that's nice. Oh, it's going to be such a pretty book. I think these will be my last 3 before I haul out the holly and start working on some Christmas ones. Come on. Oh, I got an itchy nose. You know what that means. And as ever, I will look through and see what I can find to put back into the book as pages and as journaling tags. It's just fun to be able to, there we go, make some use of the old text block. Let's see. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, I was a little bit scared. Woo. There we go. Oh, the color is so pretty. It's just this dusty plum. Oh, it's so pretty. Is that going to come off? That's coming off nicely. Beautiful. Lovely. That's going to be wonderful. Oh, that's so pretty. Wow. Love it. All right, we put you back in, Wenzel. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Wenzel? Wenzel? I want to say Wenzel. All right, over you go, Wenzel. We've got about 5 more minutes left. All right, Victorian reader. You're next, little Victorian reader. I love the mustard color. Oh, golden mustardy color. All right. Now, this one. Let's see. There we go. Oh boy, this is a school. This was a school textbook, and sometimes, rightly so, they were tougher with their binding, knowing that it was going to take a beating over the years. Now, I'm not as worried about the knife going through the spine because I'm going to put a new spine on this book. But I still don't want to hurt it because I'd like to make a bookmark out of that. So I'm still going to be careful. I'm going to err on the side of caution. And just chip away at this. There we go. Come on. There we go. There's some of the bands. Well, you can see the threads. Oh, no, those are wires. Wow. Look at that. Oh, they've been stapled in. Wow. Yeah, which makes sense. As I said, this was a textbook. This was binded intentionally to be a school textbook. Wow. Those are all rusty staples. Oh boy. Okay, well, out you come. Time to start your new life, Victorian reader. There we go. I want to see if I can see staples inside. There's one signature. There they are, stapled. You know what? I think this is my first time seeing the staples in a book like this. Usually, if there's staples in a big book like this, oh, it's the story of Rip Van Winkle, the staples are actually going in this way along the edge, and they're horrible to try and get apart. I'm not sure how much success I am going to have. I'm just not going to be able to get all those staples apart, and I don't think I'm even going to try. What I'll be doing is the pages, let's see how these bend, if they crack or not. Wow. Oh, no. Okay. I take back my wow. All right, so I probably won't be using any as spreads, but I will definitely adhere them to cardstock and make some journaling cards. There's some poetry in here. Hopefully it's nice. You just don't know. Our forefathers, like I said with the little green book over there, our forefathers and mothers were not always kind to one another, and that's putting it way too politely for humankind. We sucked for the most part as treating each other like a neighbor. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. But that part of taking books apart does hurt my heart. And it's yet another reason why I enjoy giving books a new reason to be used and loved. So yeah, this one is, oh yes, thank you for letting me know. Thank you. Dismiss. There we go. This one is completely missing the top and the bottom of the spine. There's holes here. I can literally see my hands through them. I could restore this and have it look actually pretty cool, the way I'm going to with the Jesuit book there. But like I said, I really do want, I want to put I want to put a bigger, maybe about a 2-inch curved spine, and some of this. Let me fold it just so we can put our imagination caps on, and I think that's going to be really, really beautiful. I love it. Okay, well, you know what? For once, I accomplished what I set out to do. I said that all we were going to do was gut these today, and gut them we did. We were like poulterers or butchers doing the eviscerating. There, that's all stuck to there. Yeah, I'm just going to carefully give myself a little bit of room. I'd like to be able to use some of that edge. So I'm probably going to cut it along there, adhere it to this part, just to some nice new pretty cardstock. Maybe I'll line it with whatever fabric I end up deciding on. I could line the inside of the bookmark with that fabric as well. And just get a little bit of a red and gold, red and mustard theme going. And then, yeah, so what I'm going to be doing next after I turn the camera off is I will be getting out my rolling pins, and I'm going to make a full curved spine for this one, and I will curve some inserts for these two, for these two. So there we go, that's it. Thanks for visiting with me this morning. I'm going to get back to work, and then I'm going to take my little friend who's over there for a WALK, and hopefully the rain holds off. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.